it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing a video I'm actually pretty excited about. I love these style of videos because I feel like they are really wonderful conversation starters. I particularly love reading the comments after doing a video like this. That's right, today I'm going to be chatting through the book series I do not plan to finish. Obviously, before I even jump in, just as a disclaimer, if any of the books I mentioned today are some of your favorites, keep on loving them, nothing against them. These are just personally books I don't see myself finishing. Creating this list to me was actually pretty funny in some capacity because it just really made me realize about like my old first booktube days. When I first joined booktube, I just felt like I would try and read anything, like anything that was popular. I was like, yes, I need to read that right now. And sometimes I would pick series up that are amazing, I became obsessed with. A good example of that is The Knife of Never Letting Go, or like anything by Lee Bardugo or Saba Tahir, or stuff like that I would pick up because of booktube. But there are some series I picked up that I read the first one and honestly I just don't foresee myself completing it. This might be a walk down booktube memory lane for some of you, so without further ado, let's just dive right into the series I don't plan on finishing. The first one is a classic, and that is the Divergent trilogy by Veronica Roth. I think I only read the first one way back right after the Hunger Games, but this is definitely never really was up my alley at the time. I like paranormal dystopian, but I was always so much more interested in fantasy. Not surprising, but this is definitely a series I will never read the second or third one. I've read spoilers for the end. It's just not for me. Maybe if they make, if they finish that movie series, I'll watch that, but who knows on that one. But boy, I remember the Divergent trilogy being just like the talk of town. When that third book came out, I thought the internet was gonna like die in the booktube world. Like people were furious. I was very jealous I wasn't up to date with everyone else at the time because I just like wanted to be a part of the group, but I was like, I still haven't read book one. The next series is the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard. This is another one where I did read the first one, and at the time I did enjoy it, but ultimately it was a little underwhelming, or it's just something I personally did not love that much. And given that there's just so many series in this world to read, I just don't foresee myself kind of going back to this and completing the rest of the books. Though I have heard good things about later installments in this series, I just don't particularly think it's for me. I really wanted to love it. I love an X-Men description for any type of story. I'm a big X-Men fan, but it just didn't really do it for me, so I definitely think this is a series I probably will not finish. Next is the good old Selection series. This is just a funny book series in some ways because it just feels so 2012. This is a story, if you're not familiar, following our main character America, who joins this like reality bachelor dystopian game show to basically like marry a prince. It kind of sounds amazing. They should make a TV show about it, but I did read the first two books. I did find it entertaining, but it's probably not something I'll ever go back to and complete the series. The covers are incredible. I feel like the Selection series defines an era in some ways. It's just like, who of you guys have, how many of you guys have read the Selection series? So many probably, right? I read the first two. I couldn't go past from there, but man, that was the talk of the town. Next is The Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. This is a series I recently tried to give a reread and give it like another shot, but unfortunately it just really wasn't for me. I just had a hard time kind of getting into the story and just kind of like getting into the magic system. This is a particular series I want to love so bad. It just didn't click for me, unfortunately. I love Libba Bray as an author, but it's just not something. Now that I've read the first one twice and I'm still not very sold on the series, I think I can safely say that I'm just not going to continue on, unfortunately. Despite how much I want to love it in my heart, I just don't think it's gonna happen. Next is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. This also was just one of the biggest series on BookTube, I felt like, for a minute there. I read the first one, but this is more of a contemporary story with some supernatural elements mixed in. I don't read a lot of contemporary, especially more seriously oriented contemporary, so it's just not a book that's kind of in the genre field that I read a bunch of, and I didn't love the first one that much, so I feel like if I ever do feel like reading serious contemporary again, I'll pick something else up that I might like more, but these covers are incredible. Honestly, still some of the best YA covers out there, I'll say it. and I'll defend that. Next is Seraphina, another book that I read pretty recently in hopes that I would just fall in love with this series so much. This is a really beloved YA fantasy story that centers around dragons and kind of like political intrigue. It's just a story that I really, like, I truly wanted to just fall in love with and be like one of my new all-time favorite YA fantasy series, but unfortunately it just really underwhelmed me, which just made me sad, and because of that I just don't foresee myself kind of trying to carry on with book 2 or book 3. It just this one hurts probably the most because it just felt like it was gonna be the one for me, but it just wasn't. We just weren't the perfect match. That book I didn't select that book during the selection ceremony. It didn't get the rose, if you will. Last book I'm gonna talk about is Under the Never Sky, which is another dystopian series that came out in the 2012s era. Again, dystopian just isn't really my favorite genre. Obviously there was a plethora of novels coming out during that time frame within that genre because it was just so popular. So I was trying a lot of them out and I enjoyed this book, but it's just, again, it's probably not something I'm going to continue with at this point. But I have no regrets that I read the first one because, hey, I feel like that was like initiation, you know what I mean? Alrighty guys, these are the series I don't see myself finishing. Let me know down below if there's some books that you guys have started in terms of series that you don't foresee yourself carrying on with, as I would love to know. And I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye.